You're watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
A retired Marine Corps officer and former state senator Paul Schimpf announced this week he's jumping into the race for governor, declaring as a Republican in the primary. He joins us now from his campaign office in Waterloo. Senator Schimpf, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me on, Mark.
You cast yourself as a bit of a centrist on union issues. I don't know that unions agree with you. The AFL-CIO gave you about a 30% rating or so on their scorecard. That was among some of the higher ranks for Republicans, but really nowhere near voting with unions even half the time. How can you make that claim that you're union friendly?
Well, I'm a centrist on union issues. Both my parents were public school teachers and union members. You know, I stood with the unions in Illinois against tremendous pressure from the Rauner administration, both in the controversy about some of the state nurses that the Rauner administration wanted to fire, and then also on right-to-work issues. So I'm not gonna vote with the unions 100% of the time. That's what my constituents expect. Is they expected me to vote with the unions if I thought they were right, or vote against them if I thought they were wrong. So, you know, that's the position that I have. I don't think unions are the enemy. I think unions do a lot of good work. I think they are part of the solution for Illinois.
What did you make of the Janus versus Afscme case?
I thought that Janus was wrongly decided. In fact, I had filed a motion, you know, in favor of the union in that case.
I assume by now you've seen the response from the Illinois Democratic County Chairs Association and the Illinois Democratic Party, both of them casting you as Rauner 2.0 or friendly to Governor Rauner's agenda.
I did see that, and I noticed that, you know, they didn't dispute any of the points that I made about the change in direction that the state needs to go. Usually when somebody can only result in name calling, that's a tacit admission that they know that you're right. So, you know, look, if they want to resort to that, that's fine. You know, we're going to run an aggressive campaign. I'm going to campaign all over the state. I'm going to be spending at least half my time in Chicago, but we're going to be talking about the issues. We're not going to be name calling, but we are going to aggressively point out where Governor Pritzker has made mistakes.
What's your message to Trump voters today?
Well, my message is don't leave the Republican Party. Think about, you know, what we want a Republican Party to stand for. You know, I had spent most of my adult life in the Marine Corps. During that time, one of the secretaries of defense was a guy named Don Rumsfeld, and Rumsfeld is famous for a quote where he said, "You go to war with the army you've got, you know, not the army that you want." You know, and there are things about the Republican Party that frustrate me, but really it only is the Republican Party that can bring change to Illinois. It's the Republican Party that is going to be able to advocate for responsible government, safe communities, and economic growth through the free market. So, you know, even though no political party is perfect, I would really urge the supporters of former President Trump to stay in the Republican Party and try to make it stronger, because that's how we can change direction in Illinois.
What should be the role of President Trump in the Republican Party moving forward?
Oh my goodness, I have not been following what he has been up to, just because we have enough challenges uniting.
Well, let me fill you in. I'll fill you in on what he's been up to. Just recently this week, upon the death of Rush Limbaugh, he appeared on Fox News on a phone call and again stated that he won the election in a big way.
Well, I don't think he won the election. That's the system that we have. He did not win. He had his day in court. I did vote for President Trump both in 2016 and 2020. I do not regret that vote at all. But I think what we need to be doing is, instead of fighting with fellow Republicans, we need to be laying out a positive agenda for, you know, why people should support the Illinois Republican Party and how we can change Illinois and make Illinois go back to the point where this is the strongest state in the country.
You said you didn't regret that. Even after the events that unfolded on January 6th, you would have yet again voted for President Trump?
Well, the choice in the 2020 election, Mark, was not so much a choice between two candidates. It was a choice between two different visions for the United States of America. The vision that President Biden was proposing was an America with an expansive government, an America, that really is one that he wants to govern through executive orders. You look at what President Biden has done so far. I vehemently disagree with how he is trying to run the country. I don't think President Trump would have been issuing, what is it now? It's something like, are we up to like about 80 executive orders, or is it even more than that? So I don't regret my votes in 2016 and 2020.
Very interesting. You've criticized Governor Pritzker, calling him a catastrophic failure. What would you have done differently in fighting the coronavirus?
Well, we could be talking about this for an entire hour, but
or a full campaign all the way up to 2022. Exactly.
Probably the biggest mistake that Governor Pritzker has made is he has not partnered with the Illinois General Assembly.
The General Assembly didn't show up to work.
He could have called a special session. Are you telling me, Mark, that the governor, if he had had a meeting with Speaker Madigan and President Harmon, that he couldn't have gotten them to come in and at least cleared up the ambiguity that existed with his executive authority?
He did. He actually did. He stood in a press conference. We could roll the tape. He stood in a press conference and ordered them to get back to work. He said they need to come back. He did not use his authority to call a special session, you're right, but he basically said, even if I did that, there's no guarantee they would show up because of the coronavirus concerns.
Well, that's a pretty damning indictment of his leadership ability. He's the leader of the Illinois Democratic Party, and he could not even convince President Harmon and Speaker Madigan to come in for an abbreviated session. That's one of the things that I'm going to be running on, is Governor Pritzker has failed as a leader. You look at the hugely inappropriate partisan speech that he just gave in the State of the State address. The fact is, Governor Pritzker is not a leader. In addition to a budget deficit, we have a leadership deficit in Illinois, and the fact that he could not even get Speaker Madigan and President Harmon to come into session, what does that say about him as his leadership abilities, Mark?
What is the state of the state, if you had a word or a sentence?
Deteriorating. The thing that, the most damning statistic that exists out there right now is the fact that over the past year, we have lost nearly 80,000 people. Our net population loss from July of 19 to July of 2020 was nearly 80,000 people. And the reason that's important is we cannot solve any of our long-term challenges, whether it's education, whether it's pensions. We cannot solve any of those things until Illinois is a state where people want to come and raise their families and grow their businesses. And for Governor Pritzker to not even mention that statistic during his State of the State speech, not level with the people of Illinois, not try to give an explanation for why people are leaving our state in droves, that's dereliction of duty. Honestly, he talked in his speech about how he was being honest with the people of Illinois. Well, how can you say you're honest with the people of Illinois when you don't bother even mentioning that there is a mass exodus going on from our state right now?
All right, Senator Paul Schimpf joining us from his campaign office in Waterloo. Thanks for joining us, and we'll stay tuned throughout the rest of this campaign.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Really enjoyed the discussion.
All right, we're back in just a moment.